Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesh Shunyavadi Paschadya Deshtarani. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today we are here to discuss on Kunti Stuti, the prayers of Queen Kunti, part 2. So the last time we had covered from texts 18 to 23. So we had discussed the various the background of the Queen Kunti's prayers, and then we spoke about how Queen Kunti is praying to Lord Krishna, and she's saying that the essence of what she's saying is that the jivas today are covered by this curtain of Maya, and they cannot see the Lord properly, and she is explaining that only by the process of pure devotional service unto the personal form of Lord Sri Krishna can make somebody see the Lord ultimately. So now we'll continue from verse 24 until, so we'll do 24, 25 and 26 today. So each prayer of Queen Kunti has its own flavor. So if even if we don't know the previous prayers, even these prayers also talk about different aspects and express their own different flavor. So let's start with verse 24. Vishan Mahagnehi Purusha Dadarshana Dasat Sabhaya Vanavasa Krichratah Mride Nika Maharathastrato Draunyastratascha Hare Bhirakshitah. My dear Krishna, your lordship has protected us from a poisoned cake, from a great fire, from cannibals, from the vicious assembly, from sufferings during our exile in the forest, and from the battle where the great generals fought. And now you have saved us from the weapon of Ashwatthama. So here Queen Kunti is expressing her gratitude, affection and dependence on Krishna in these prayers. So in the first few prayers she is explaining how Krishna is great and his lordship and his glories, and she is offering her obeisances to him and expressing her gratitude and love for him. And now she is here explicitly saying what Krishna has done for the Pandavas and for Queen Kunti. So there are so many difficulties from which the Lord protected them. So if we have to let's see them one by one. So the first is Vishan. So Vishan means the poison. So Bhima was protected from poison by Lord Krishna. When Duryodhan, Dushasan and everybody, they poisoned Bhima by giving him the poisoned cake, then due to the effect of the poison, Bhima fell unconscious and they threw him into the river Ganges. So by Krishna's mercy, Bhima went to the Nagalokas. There he had the elixir, the nectar, and whereupon he got the strength of 10,000 elephants. So that is how the storyline is. But the essence is that Krishna protected Bhima from the poison that was given by the Kauravas. Then Mahagnehi, the great fire, Lakshagraha. So we know of yet another incident where Krishna protected the Pandavas. So the palace in Varanavat was built out of lac and the materials which can easily burn due to fire. So oily materials, right? And this was a plan that was made by Duryodhan and Shakuni to burn the Pandavas to death, right? So here this great fire was built by Purochana, an architect, and Pandavas lived there. But by the arrangement of Krishna and by the expertise of Vidura, the Pandavas came to know earlier what the Kauravas were about to do, and they themselves set fire in the building and they escaped through the underground tunnel that was built. So that is how the storyline is. But Krishna, by his intelligence, by his mercy and by Vidura's intelligence, the Pandavas were saved from such great calamities, like they had nobody to support them, and they were almost burnt in this great fire, if not for Krishna and Vidura. And if not for Krishna, Bhima would not have survived the poison also. Then Purushada Darshanat means man eaters, the cannibals. So especially specifically speaking, two cannibals are there, Hidimba and Bakasura. So Hidimba is the brother of Hidimbi, and Bhima killed Hidimba in the forest, and he married Hidimbi and he had a son by the name Ghatotkacha. So the man-eating demons, the ferocious, yet another one was Bakasur. So when they stayed in a village during the time of their exile, after the Lakshagraha, they stayed in the forest for some time before going to Draupadi's Swayamvar. So during that time, they stayed in a village, and Bhima killed Bakasur, and he liberated the residents of that village. So here Queen Kunti is explaining how Hidimba and Baka, both and other such man-eating cannibals, Krishna protected them. So till now we have discussed three: Vishan, the poison; Mahagneha, the great fire; Purushada Darshanat, the third thing, that is the man-eating demons. Then Asat Sabhaya. So Sabha means an assembly, and Asat Sabha means that kind of an assembly where the adharma, the principles of adharma were upheld, and there the Kuru gambling assembly. So we are specifically talking about the Kuru gambling assembly, where the principles of adharma were upheld by certain vicious people, envious people who were having wrong intentions, like Duryodhan, Shakuni, Dushyasan, etc. So they played a gambling match with Yudhishthir there, and this gambling match was cheating. It was contrived specifically for Yudhishthir's defeat, Yudhishthir Maharaj's defeat, and he lost everything in the gambling match. He kept on staking everything and he lost everything. So here then, in the course of that fateful tournament, Duryodhan and his brothers, they took possession of Draupadi. So Yudhishthir Maharaj even staked Draupadi also. So then Kauravas won even that bet also. So there is one verse from Govinda Damodar Madhaveti Stotra. Agre kurunam atha pandavanam dushyasanena hritavastra kesha Krishna tada kroshadananyanatha Govinda Damodara Madhaveti. Before the assembled Kurus and Pandavas, when Dushyasana caught her hair and clothing, Krishna, Draupadi, having no other lord, cried out, Govinda Damodara Madhava. So here it is described how Krishna, he specifically protected Draupadi from her insult, and he expanded himself into unlimited cloth, and Krishna, he never allowed that disrobing of Draupadi to happen at all. Right? So we are seeing how Krishna is protecting at every single step from calamities which are inconceivable at all. Right? Then comes Vanavasa Krichrataha. So till now we have discussed Vishan, Mahagnehe, Purushada Darshanat, Asat Sabhaya, then Vanavasa Krichrataha. So Vanavasa means exile. Krichrataha is the sufferings that they faced in the exile. One classic example is Durvasa Muni. So Duryodhan, he invited, when Durvasa Muni came to Hastinapur, Duryodhan, he treated him with the best hospitality, and then when Durvasa was very much pleased by this treatment of Duryodhan, he asked Duryodhan for a boon, for a benediction. So Duryodhan asked, "Oh my dear," says Durvasa Muni, "can you please go to the Pandavas' house, and not at any random time, specifically at the time when Draupadi has finished eating her meal, please go at that time." Right? So Durvasa Muni goes there, and Draupadi has just finished eating her meal from the Akshay Patra. We know that Akshay Patra is given to the Pandavas where it can produce unlimited amount of food till the time Draupadi has eaten. After Draupadi has eaten, it will not produce food. So Draupadi had, or the prasadam, Draupadi had just eaten, and then all the sages come. Then all the Pandavas are in anxiety. Now how will we serve the sages? Right? Then Krishna appears there, and we know how Krishna, he finds one grain of rice there, and he just takes it and eats it. So Yasmin Tushte Jagat Tushtam, when Krishna has completely satisfied, then even all the sages completely became satisfied, and then they felt as if they had eaten a very sumptuous meal, and they did not want anything more to eat, right? So this is how Krishna protected from Durvasa Muni. So somebody who can be very quickly, he can get angry. So Durvasa Muni. So there was a great calamity upon the Pandavas, and even in the incognito Vanavas exile, that is the 13th year, Krishna protected the Pandavas. Right? So we see how from Vanavasa Krichrataha. Then one more thing Queen Kunti is telling, Mridhe Mridhe Aneka Maharatha Strato. Mridhe Mridhe means again and again. Maharatha Astrataha means the great weapons of all the generals. So Krishna, seated on the chariot of Arjuna, is protecting all the Pandavas from the dangers of the weapons of the Kuru leaders. Right? So if we want to know this in detail, we can see the 15th chapter of the first canto. We are discussing Queen Kunti's prayers from the 8th chapter. So in the 15th chapter is where the Pandavas retire timely. So over here Arjuna, the context is that Krishna left this world, and Arjuna, out of grief, he is explaining what Krishna did for him in the war, and how did Krishna protect him. So the military strength of the Kauravas was like an ocean in which there dwelled many invincible existences, and thus it was insurmountable. But because of his friendship, I, seated on the chariot, was able to cross over it, and only by his grace was I able to regain the cows and also collect and force many helmets of the kings which were bedecked with jewels that were sources of all brilliance. Right? Here Arjuna is explaining how Krishna, in the 14th verse of the 15th chapter of the first canto, he explains how Krishna is seated on the chariot of Arjuna, and he is protecting him at every single step from all the weapons. So if we want more elaboration, we can see the next verse, 15th verse. It was he only who withdrew the duration of life from everyone, and who in the battlefield withdrew the speculative power and strength of the enthusiasm from the great military phalanx made by the Kauravas, headed by Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Shalya, etc. Their arrangement was expert and more than adequate, but he, Lord Sri Krishna, while going forward, did all this. Next is 16th verse. Great generals like Bhishma, Drona, Karna, Bhurishrava, Susharma, Shalya, Jayadratha, and Bahalika all directed their invincible weapons against me. But by his Lord Krishna's grace, they could not even touch a hair on my head. Similarly, Prahlad Maharaj, the supreme devotee of Lord Narasimhadev, was unaffected by the weapons of the demons that were used against him. So this directly talks on the point that the great weapons that were directed by the great generals, Krishna protected Arjuna in such a way that they could not even touch a hair on his head. This Arjuna himself is saying. So we can imagine how at every step Krishna is protecting. So we can say that Bhishma, Drona, Karna, actually they are so powerful and so great generals that there is no question only of Pandavas winning the war, right? There is only the question because Krishna is with the Pandavas. So we can see how Krishna is protecting, right? And now you have saved us from the weapon of Ashwathama, right? Drauni Astataha, that is the last thing. So in the previous session we had discussed that Uttara approaches Krishna before Queen Kunti starts praying. Uttara approaches Krishna and asks him for help because a fiery iron arrow is coming toward her. That arrow is the Brahmastra of Ashwathama. So Queen Kunti is expressing her extreme gratitude to Krishna for what all he has done, right? So Queen Kunti, she's saying here that Krishna has stolen all their miseries, right? Hare Bhirakshitaha, right? Krishna, the name of Krishna is Hari, means somebody who steals. So Vraje Prasidham Navanita Chauram or Chaurashtakam is Ashtakam is a beautiful song which explains to us how great a thief Krishna is, right? So Krishna is the foremost of thieves according to this song. What this song is saying, Chaurashtakam, that Vraje Prasidham Navanita Chauram Gopangananam cha Dukula Chauram Aneka Janmarjita Papa Chauram Chauragar Ganyam Purusham Namami. So I am offering my respectful obeisances to that thief, the foremost of thieves, who is stealing the sins from Aneka Janma Arjita, that is from many births, the sins Krishna is stealing, right? Dhanam cha manam cha yathendriyani pranamscha hritva mama sarvameva. So Bilvamangal Thakur is explaining in that song Chaurashtakam that dhanam, wealth, manam, honor, yatha indriyani, the senses, pranam, life, everything Krishna is stealing. He is such a great thief. So he is Hari, means somebody who steals. So one very important thing is that in stanza 2, when we see, we will see that of that same song Chaurashtakam, it is explained that Krishna will take away everything from you. Padashritanam cha samasta chauram, right? Pada ashritanam means somebody who has taken shelter of Krishna. Cha samasta chauram, he will take everything away from that person, right? So then an ordinary person will lose will lose faith in taking shelter of Krishna. But no, it is a very striking deal and a very important, good, extremely wonderful deal. What is that deal? Krishna will take away everything from you, but he will give himself to you, right? So अनेक जन्म अर्जित पाप चौरम पदाश्रितानां च समस्त चौरम dhanam च manam च yatha indriyani. Bilvamangal Thakur is explaining that he is stealing everything, but at the same time he will, when we listen to him, he is the one dhunoti shamalam krishna salilasya yathasharat pravishtah karnarandhrena swanam bhavasarorukam. So Krishna enters into the heart of the listener, the pure sincere person who is listening to his glories and trying to please him by practicing this process of bhakti, right? So Krishna will always give us what is favorable for our bhakti. In the last session we had also discussed 10.88.8 from Srimad Bhagavatam. Yasyaham anugrahanami harishyetad dhanam shanai. So the same message is given here also, that Krishna will steal everything from such a person, but in the end Krishna explains few verses later in the same chapter that he gives himself to that person, right? So this is a great explanation of all the inconceivable calamities that have happened to Queen Kunti and how Krishna has saved them at every single step, right? Now let's see the next verse, which is the 25th verse. Vipadaha santuta shashvat tatra tatra jagat guru bhavato darshanam yatsyad apunarbhava darshanam. I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again so that we could see you again and again. For seeing you means we will no longer see repeated birth and death. So somebody may ask a question here, that Queen Kunti is praying for calamities. So why is she doing that? So what is the courage? So can anybody have that courage to pray like this for more calamities? So the important point here we have to understand is Queen Kunti is not a lover of difficulties. She does not want, she is not somebody who is asking for more and more and more difficulties. The logic that she is trying to explain here is that more difficulties means more remembrance of Lord. So whenever there is difficulty for devotee, the Lord will ultimately come and protect the devotee. If the Lord ultimately will come and protect the devotee, then the devotee will remember the Lord more and more and more. Right? This is the logic that is explained here. That Krishna, the difficulties Queen Kunti is asking so that she can remember the Lord more. Right? And when she remembers the Lord more, then there will be no longer repeated birth and death. So now one very important topic about difficulties of devotees, sadhaka bhaktas, the karmis and the liberated souls. The karmis, that is the materialistic people, they face difficulties due to karma. That is for them, they are bonded in this material nature. But the sadhaka bhaktas, who are the aspiring devotees, they are facing difficulties due to small anarthas or due to some small aparadhas. Right? Those who sincerely practice devotional service, their karma is destroyed. Karmani nirdhati kintucha bhakti bhajam. But the sadhaka bhaktas, they are facing difficulties due to some small anarthas or due to some small karma also. But one other thing, that Krishna gives difficulties for sadhaka devotees so that it might also be a preparation for their future service to guide other Vaishnavas. So other Vaishnavas who come in the future, they will also face certain difficulties. So to guide them in the preparation for that service, Krishna gives the difficulties to such sadhaka devotees. So till now materialistic people we saw that they, due to karma. Sadhaka bhaktas due to some small aparadhas or due to some small anarthas. And also for preparation, it's not necessarily due to aparadha or anartha. It may happen for preparation for future service also. But now why liberated souls are suffering? Queen Kunti and Pandavas, Uttara, Parikshit Maharaj, etc., they are not sadhaka bhaktas, they are eternally liberated souls, they are associating with the Supreme Lord eternally. But why are they suffering? Simple reasons. Number one, to show us that this material world is a place of suffering. Dukkhalayam ashashvatam. This material world is dukkhalayam ashashvatam. If we don't get any difficulties, the pure devotees are trying to tell us that difficulties will come in this material world. Difficulties will come, and this place is a place of difficulties. So by looking at them, by looking at their example, we devotees, people like us, conditioned souls like us, they are inspired to inquire about the reality, right? When we face difficulties in our life and we take shelter of these examples, we ask questions. What is the reality then? Why am I facing difficulties? Where is that place where there are no difficulties? Where is that place where there are no problems? The purpose of giving distress is just that the faith should increase and the detachment should be increased gradually. So by this example of pure devotees, Krishna is trying to explain to us, right? To show us that this material world is filled with suffering. Then another reason. Two reasons are there. Second thing, to set good example for the common people who, after facing difficulties, generally lose trust and faith on Krishna. Pure devotees like Queen Kunti, Pandavas, Parikshit Maharaj, Uttara, and many others, even after facing so many difficulties, they don't lose trust on Krishna, they don't lose faith on Krishna, and in the end we see how abundantly they are rewarded, right? So Pandavas, Queen Kunti, they got a huge empire. Parikshit Maharaj was the successor of that huge empire. Uttara is the wife of a hero, Abhimanyu. She is the mother of a hero, Parikshit Maharaj. She is the daughter-in-law of Arjuna, who is yet another, who is the greatest hero, right? So and then we see Parikshit Maharaj, how because of him the entire Bhagavatam came, because of his inquiries and because of his detachment and his intelligence. We learn as an example from Parikshit Maharaj how when the time comes we should be able to detach ourselves from this family life and this empires of this material world completely. So by the way they face difficulties, like how Kunti Maharani is explaining here in the previous verse, and how this she's praying that may those calamities happen and again and again. It is not out of the fact that she is a lover for calamity. There is nothing like that. She is asking so that she can remember Krishna again and again. That mood, that level is very high. So we are not on the plane of Queen Kunti, and it is not recommended for us to pray for difficulties. At least whatever difficulties that come out of their own accord, we should be ready to accept them, offer prayers to the Lord, remember the Lord, and ultimately come out of those difficulties, right? So this is how the essence of Queen Kunti, what she is explaining here, the various difficulties that are coming, right? So it's a clear indication for us that is given, that even if we have the slightest inclination for this material world, even if we have the slightest attachment, we cannot enter Goloka. Pride, envy, jealousy, lust, etc., they are keeping us here in this material world. So we cannot enter this spiritual world, get on the plane. We cannot get on the plane of Queen Kunti if we are attached to this thing. And in the next verse, immediately Queen Kunti is connecting and she is describing. Now we will see in this verse, the next verse, four different qualities. In the 26th verse, that Queen Kunti is saying, if a person is too attached, if a person is too proud about these qualities, he cannot get the love of Godhead. Janmaishwarya Shruta Shribhir Edhamanamadh Puman Naivarhatya Vidhatum Vai Tvama Kinchana Gocharam. My Lord, your Lordship can be easily approached, but only by those who are materially exhausted. One who is on the path of material progress, trying to improve himself with respectable parentage, great opulence, high education, and bodily beauty, cannot approach you with sincere feeling. So over here, the four qualities that lead to pride attachment are: number one, Janma, birth, high birth; Aishwarya, wealth; Shruta, intelligence, right? High education; and then Shribhir, Shri, bodily beauty. So these are the four qualities that the pride and attachment and the greed for these qualities, they keep a person, they pull a person down to this material world and keep him grounded here. So the feeling of intense love, intense desire to get Krishna's lotus feet, the intense separation, the intense longing to reunite with the Supreme Lord, it cannot come, it cannot possibly come if somebody is influenced by the pride and attachment for these four qualities, right? So here they cannot cry out, they cannot, they just cannot cry out. The nature is like this, that if somebody is proud about these four qualities, automatically he will feel materially secure. And we have seen in the previous verse, I mean in the previous session that we had, that one who is more dependent on Krishna gets more attention from Krishna, and one who has other sources. We discussed in the last also that one who is more materially secure, he cannot get that dependence on Krishna, and he cannot get that feeling of surrender. So because when somebody is materially secure, materially attached, atha griha kshetra sutapta vittaihi janasya mohoyam aham mameti, that aham mameti, I, me and mine, that conception will automatically come. Then there is griha kshetra suta apta, so home, wife, children, land, possessions, everything, they just bind somebody to this material world, and that connection, that bonding, that attachment is so intense and strong that it just cannot be broken at any time without the rigorous fight against this Maya. So Srila Prabhupada says that devotional service is declaration of war against Maya. So without this thing, so Queen Kunti is saying that one who is materially exhausted only can approach you. So that sincere feeling cannot come at all. So for this quality to manifest, we should not take pride in external qualifications. We should understand that Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, Shribhir, whatever is there, will automatically go at the time of death. So somebody who is born in the richest family, in the next life he may be born in a middle class family or in a low middle class family, or maybe struggling just for meals for 2 times a day. So anything can happen at any point in time. We can our opulence, our intelligence can be taken away. When somebody becomes old, his intelligence gradually reduces, right? So we should not take pride in these qualifications. A classical example is 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Gajendra, he is the king of elephants, and his entourage is described, right? He could only pray when he was caught by the crocodile, otherwise he could not pray. And that too, even when he was caught by the crocodile, first of all, the thing is that he was materially very much secure. He had a family, friends, relatives, and entourage and great army and great people who were following him, and his steps were so heavy they shook mountains, and for great distances. It's described in Bhagavatam. And until he was caught by the crocodile, and even after he was caught by the crocodile, he was trying, his relatives were trying, and people were trying to protect him, but they could not protect him. He also lost all his strength completely, and then by the loss of all his strength, he sincerely prayed to the Supreme Lord in the last, that maybe so in the last he prayed till the time the attachment was broken of Krishna, of Gajendra. He was Janma Aishwarya Shuta Shribir were there with Gajendra, we can see it, but still till the time he completely lost faith that this Janma Aishwarya Shruta Shribir is useless and I cannot get anything from it, then he took shelter of the Supreme Lord. But before that he did not take. So we can see here same point is mentioned, first canto and 8th canto also we can see the connection, that as long as this Janma Aishwarya Shruta Shribir, the pride is there, Queen Kunti is explaining so about her difficulties and about her how Krishna protected her. Then she explains why the conditioned jiva cannot surrender, because he is bound by these 4 qualities. So how can he possibly surrender? We have to call the Supreme Lord with that mood. Alright. So to such devotees, Krishna is accessible, visible and available. So we see how somebody who is materially detached and not at all, even though he is in this material world, he is not connected with this material world, like the lotus in the pond amid the mud. It is in that pond, but it is still not connected with the mud, right? So similarly, one who is fully detached and one who is materially exhausted can only take shelter of the Supreme Lord, right? So now we have discussed up till verse number 26. So how Queen Kunti is further offering her obeisances to Krishna, how she is further explaining that this qualities cannot be cannot be had by somebody who wants to take shelter of Krishna, and how a person who actually wants taking shelter of Krishna, he should give up these qualities, as we have discussed now, and how she further continues to glorify Krishna, and what are the pastimes of Krishna she discusses, and how she further elaborates on this point for 2 or 3 verses more. We will see that next time. So I'll conclude my explanation on my attempt to explain Queen Kunti's verses for today. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam.